This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
I want to be incredibly sensitive to the fact that your lived experience, your specific little traumas of childhood, a lot of them have to do with household tasks. It's a challenge. Good morning, baby.
Good morning.
How you doing? Welcome back to the United States and into the chairs. Yeah, how you doing this morning?
I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. You seem a something.
Feeling behind.
Okay.
Yeah, feeling behind. And then as soon as, because it was scheduled, we were scheduled to start at 8, and then we pushed to 8:15, and then I was like, oh, fuck. And then the reminder of hey, it's 8:15, can we start? So just kind of feeling behind. And feeling behind.
What time were you, if we had started at 8, what time were you hoping we would have stopped at?
Not sure.
Okay. Because what if we do that, wherein if I am late to the chairs or request a pushback to the chairs, that's fine. It just takes off our recording time. Would that ever help?
Say it again.
So say we were scheduled to start at 8 and we had a slot from 8 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
Would it ever be helpful that if I request a pushback, that is not pushing back the entire time. That is cutting out time that we would have sat in the chairs.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could
Would
try.
that help?
Sure.
Yeah. Why don't we do that from now on? And because I don't want you to feel like that. Because in my mind, we have to do that anyway. Because I can't push into. I have a hard out because I have clients. So in my mind, when I'm asking for a pushback, I'm just chopping out time that we would have had to record.
Okay, so we have a block.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. The only thing is say if we get into a flow, and then do we have to stop, or do I need to monitor another timer
No,
then?
because I have a hard out. So I think I didn't realize, so thanks for clarifying this, that's where your head goes on those days. Because in my days, we just have less time to record. Mm-hmm. Because we always record on Wednesday mornings and I always have clients. So in my mind, we still have to get out.
Okay.
I have other things in my mind too.
So we'll schedule a block versus a specific start time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Great.
And aim still for that specific start time. But that way, if there's a delay on my end, you know that you're still getting out on your time. Mm-hmm. Does that limit feel?
Feels good.
Juicy? Good?
Yeah, it feels good.
It's okay for me to have limits too. It is okay for, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I know you want to give me good things. You want to have juicy conversations and that kind of stuff. Do you feel like you're getting cheated out?
Brutal honesty.
Yeah.
And this is in my mind. This is not what you do where I have a bunch of stuff to do and then I feel like my time's not valued. Brutal honesty. And a bunch of stuff is, it's really things that I don't want to do today, or things that I'm now in tolerating. We're getting the yard aerated and seeded on Saturday, and this is really the only day before it's supposed to rain for a couple of days. So I need to go out and do a couple of hours of yard work that I'm not really looking forward to doing because I feel behind in meditation. I feel behind in practice, exercise, and I'm kind of putting these things to the side. And this is my choice. Hear me. This is not you. But then it's and it's a unhealthy place where it's on me. Where I have to focus on kind of bettering the house, where you need to focus on bettering your work. So it's one of those things where it's not fair. That's not fair either. Because I didn't ask you for help, and I don't really... Yeah, I mean, we could have organized this together, but it's not a big deal. So that's where my mind goes to, and it's not a very healthy thing to do. So it's a noticing. And then, it's what is that? Where it's all of a sudden I'm projecting my discomfort onto you. Well, that's not fair. That happens every day, relationship, but it's one of those things because after we get done with this, I go to a martyrdom place where it's well, I'm going to go edit the podcast after this, and then I'm going to go do yard work that I don't want to do after this, and then I'm probably going to be drained. So the shit that I really want to do today is going to be, it's like not pushed to the side, but I'm going to have to kind of grind through that because I'm going to be tired after the yard work. So I can see all this stuff. And I've had too much coffee. And so, isn't that weird?
It's beautiful for you to be able to say it out loud, honestly, right? Because when we can do that whole narration that you just did, I don't know how it feels for you, but for me, it takes the power out of it. For me, because of course, inside a partnership, like you just said, I bet it happens every day. Yeah. I'm literally in the midst of the shadow book. And I say, the thing that we do so often without realizing it is project our own shadow onto the other, right? They are taking from me everything you just said. I literally read it this morning in my morning journaling time. And it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating. And thank you for narrating it out loud. And thank you I love how you've used the phrase recently, this is a noticing. And I don't know if you got it from the exercise that we did at Wheel of Consent training where we went like this and this and this, and they would say, notice what you're feeling in your body. It is such a gift to me when you do that. When you say, this is a noticing. You're not saying, please fix this. You're not saying change your behavior. You're not saying rescue me. You're not saying this is all your fault. You're not saying any of that. You're just saying, this is what I'm noticing in my body, which I don't know if this is what you're inviting me to do, but it is allowing me to just have empathy and to witness you in what it is that you're experiencing. Because just how when we were doing this go away, come back exercise, what was fascinating about that exercise is the experience that was happening within us. The other person wasn't necessarily trying to send us far, far away or trying to bring us, like trying to do something to us. They were just following the directions of the exercise. But things were happening in our bodies. And so we have just had a morning and things have happened in your body. What's coming up in you?
What's a healthier way to ask for help?
And so I was wondering that too.
And then because it goes to like tallying little things from like yesterday. So when my mind is here of it's either I'm being taken from or I'm doing this out of like toleration, and then my mind goes to the little things that I didn't get help on, say like yesterday, these tiny little things. What's a good way to ask for help?
I can tell you what I did. I mean, the reason why, do you remember in the dining room, was it last night or yesterday afternoon, where I said, may I share something? And you said yes. And I said, I have just the fullest, most beautiful week. And there is going to be very little margin in my body. And I don't necessarily need anything except grace and empathy and love. Can you foresee your weeks like that? Because I love it when you do that. When you say, hey, this is what's coming up. This is what I could use. Because you do that sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm loving reading the Shadow book because he talks about this idea of like a seesaw. Okay, so imagine you're standing on a seesaw, okay, and it's like a little one, like a teeter-totter, like y'all, we got back from vacation, and one of the things we got to witness was this circus performer guy, and this one time he balanced on a piece of PVC pipe with a little board, okay, so imagine we're that guy, and this author, Robert Johnson's talking about the shadow, and he's saying, there's this tendency to want to be all good, but the fact of the matter is we all have a shadow piece, and it's just going to be there with us, and so he challenges us, because the subconscious doesn't know the difference, to act out the shadow, to give it something. So I wanted to propose to you, and I just didn't know it would come this soon. What would happen if, in a journaling practice or on a pad of paper or something you throw away, you write out all the things, all of the tallies, all of the things that I have done wrong? So this guy does this, Robert Johnson, before he goes on to speak, he gets a wet towel in a hotel room because he's about to go deliver this speech and be this wonderful speaker. And what he found is that if he did this thing where he gave of himself all day long, he was just a little twat later in the day. Like he was just angry at people. Like, why don't you serve me? So what he found as a way to combat that is to wet a towel in his hotel room, make it really heavy, and just start throwing it at the wall inside of his like hotel, like inside of the bathtub, so that he could release the shadow side. And what he said is that the subconscious doesn't know the difference. It just doesn't. And so he encourages like even young married couples to like do shadow vows. Like, I promise to be sweet and demure to you, but really control you. Like these things that are our shadow pieces. And he's like, just get comfy with it, integrate it, acknowledge that because of your upbringing, because of my upbringing, our subconscious would like the other to be the perfect parent that we never got. So we're always going to be projecting onto this other gendered partner if we're in a het relationship. Will you be for me what I never got? Like, don't be my mother. Don't be my mother. Don't make me do all the household things. You had to do so much as a young person around your house. Mm-hmm. So much. And so he would argue that your psyche, your like inner, is like, I never wanted to marry a woman like that. And here she is doing these things even without even, it's not like you desire to do these things. It's just the shadow. So I don't know what it would feel like. Your face doesn't look like it would be happy, but to write out all of the things that I have failed on, all of these things that I've let fall, because it starts to get silly. And he said, once you start to do it and let these things out of your head onto the tallied list of all of the ways in which I'm failing, you start to be able to giggle. When he's throwing his wet towel at the bathtub wall, yes, he's letting out rage. And I work so hard for humanity, right? But then he's like, wow, this is hilarious. And then he just struts onto the stage and feels better. So I don't know. You could ask for help, but I love what you just said, which is you don't necessarily want or need my help for these things that you're doing. It's the subconscious is that she's doing this, you're doing all this hard work, and she's not doing this, that, or the other thing. Because I don't think it's you. I don't think you really hate me like that.
No, and it's not hard work. It's just like these little menial tasks. Like, can I share a boo-boo from yesterday?
Sure.
It was after we had people over on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So we had a full dishwasher. Mm-hmm. Monday or Sunday night, we ran it. Mm-hmm. I emptied it. Sunday, and then what did I run? There was like 5 or 6 other dishes that I ran it again.
Okay.
And then I woke up yesterday morning, and then there were dishes in the sink. And I go, oh, the dishes. And then I open the dishwasher, and then there's clean dishes that needed to be emptied out. And I had a moment of like, oh, I wish Lauren would have just taken the time to put these like less than a minute dishes away so I didn't have to do all this so I could have a clean sink. And it's very reminiscent of podcasts, of the times we've talked about fucking dishes on this podcast.
It's okay.
But it's very reminiscent where it's like, because it's not hard and it takes such a little amount of time. But then again, it's like, oh, it's on me. I have to do it if I want a clean sink. And yeah, but I didn't ask you. Mm-mm. And I didn't share that it was an ouch or a boo-boo yesterday, not an ouch, or maybe an ouch. Yeah, where it's like, oh, fuck. So it's just one of those things. Like, oh, the coffee this morning. You made an extra pot of coffee, which I'm very thankful for. And then there's coffee grounds all over the sink where like washing it out it was just all over the sink. And so when these things start to tally up in my mind, I feel like I'm doing the majority of these little kind of housework tasks to kind of keep and this isn't rational, where it's like to keep our house tidy and then, I'm now the housekeeper. Yeah. And so I guess that extends to the hours of work I have to do outside that I don't really want to do, where I'm now the gardener. And all of this is not true. And I can ask for help, which I haven't. Yeah, and then it's these are tiny little things, but then it starts to take up a large amount of space in my head of I'm not being helped. And then the 8 o'clock to 8:15 when we get in the chairs, I'm not being helped. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it starts to snowball. And then I'm now like a grumpopotamus. You can tell by my mood, where I'm a little bit more serious, a little bit more somber, where this is now a task versus something like a place of joy. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like we haven't been down this road before.
And I'm just encouraging, especially, and you know how much I want you to read and listen to these books because I've been like, whoa. He's like, get used to it, folks. We're full of shadow and light. Mm-hmm. We are not little gurus up on a mountain, little angels in heaven with our little cutesy wings. Mm-hmm. We just had the best vacation in the world. Like, truly. I don't know if it could have been better. It was one of the most beautiful 10 days, 11 days that we were gone ever. And he would say, a time of such light is going to be accompanied by a time of shadow. Now,
welcome back to the house where, like, no one's doing this for you. Housekeeping is not coming on a daily basis and doing it for you and leaving you flowers, literally. Yeah, welcome back to reality where it's like laundry needs to get done, things need to be brought downstairs, beds need to be made. Yeah. Welcome back. And then it's like, I feel like the balance of tasks is a little out of whack right now. You know what I was thinking about? Speaking of like things where I've been wanting Lauren to be really responsible. We have a firearm in the house and it's locked up and it's away in the basement and I want to move it up to the bedroom, locked up inside the bedroom. And one of the things that I was wanting probably 3 to 6 months ago was like Lauren to be very comfortable using our firearm. And I found her a coach, female like firearms, certified coach, and we scheduled an appointment and she canceled it, which was totally fine. And it was, okay, I'm going to trust that you reschedule this. And it hasn't been rescheduled yet. And these shadow books, like these books you want me to read and these things you want me to do, I really make an effort to do those things because it's important for you to, or I really want to value and honor your suggestions and like put action behind those things. And, that came up for me today where I was like, that's not important to Lauren, or she's not comfortable with it, or she'll put it aside. And like books are important, and then being comfortable with a gun, I think, is important too. So there's been a lot of like I'm not feeling valued. Mm-hmm. The last couple of days since we got back. Well, I guess the last like 2 days. Mm-hmm. And it started with the dishes. Mm-hmm. And I have not asked. I don't know if you didn't have time or had time or didn't notice and we have a rule where we get around to it at the end of the night. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You had a busy day yesterday. You're on TV yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's that kind of shadowy question, where is it, and this isn't fair, but it's like, are we in service to you? And that's not fair. That is not fair. I'm sure this isn't what you wanted to talk about today.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful because I cry. This is why we wanted to have this podcast. I think that it'd be very easy to look at, oh, Trey and Lauren just went on a vacation for forever. I want what they have. This is real relationship. I fuck up. I hurt you. I misstep. I ouch you. I boo-boo you. I always want to be the type of partner who can hear you, who is a safe space for you to share those things. And I'm so sorry about, not following up with that coach. I hear you. That makes complete sense. You are the first one always, if I mention a book that I think would be so beautiful for us to read, like for you to be able to hear too. Always. There has been one where you've been like, babe, I just can't. That is your league. Can you paraphrase it for me or give me the favorite quotes or something? Yeah. I'm so sorry that I hear you. And this is partnership. I'm so sorry. And I don't hear that you're saying to me, fix this for me with, some of the like household tasky stuff. I hear you really wrestling with it, and call me crazy, but I want to be honored by that, as opposed to, it's why we say forever that we're so thankful for these chairs, because we sit down and we talk to each other. And it's weird and stuff pops up that it's not exactly what we thought we were going to talk about. But think about how many amazing conversations we've had in these chairs through the years that we might not have had if we weren't beholden to sit here. I'm so thankful. Yeah. And I don't know. Does it make you comfy or uncomfy that I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that this shadowy stuff would pop out post-vacation?
I don't really have a strong grasp of like the shadowy stuff. What would I call it? Like coming back to reality. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else would I call it? Noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to get mad. I don't want to blow up, and I don't want to tally. I don't want to bottle this so it can explode later. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of our best friends where she's in a partnership, and she was talking about her husband where it comes out twice a year, 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. That's not fair. I don't want to collect all that shit so it can explode eventually.
Hey.
I don't want there to be a power dynamic like that either. Fuck that.
You are not that.
Yeah. But I could. I see, I walk that trail.
You're like, I know that path.
Yeah.
All I need to do is go slightly to the right.
Yeah.
That is knowing our shadow. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is knowing, all it would take is going over here. That's all it would take. I know I could be that person. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My God. I know. Are you kidding? I could see all the, every morning I wake up, I could see all the paths I could take.
Yeah.
And one of mine is living in anxiety constantly that I'm upsetting you because of the dishes in the sink. I could live in that path of constantly overfunctioning and worrying that I'm not making you happy, but I've had to let that one go. Because I'm human. I'm very human. And I noticed that you unloaded the dishwasher, and I thought, golly day, I hope he's in his side of his, because we'll do the thing sometimes where it's like, if I do that, I'll do it out of joy.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you did, and I was like, gosh, he just keeps unloading that dishwasher.
Yeah, the first time was out of joy, and then the second time was out of oh, fuck. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then
And that's if we use will of consent language, if we're a giver, we have to keep responsible for our limits. If we're in giving, mm-hmm. That's our job, not the person who's receiving's job.
And then where's the fine line of I would like a clean sink? Where's the fine line of I don't want to see all this in the sink, especially after I've created a clean sink and now it's, oh fuck, now there's stuff in it again. And by stuff, I mean literally 2 dishes.
Wish everybody could see it. That's what I was gonna say.
It's complete nonsense.
If a clean sink really matters that much to you, notice, trust, and value, then I would say you unloading the dishwasher and putting those dishes in, if that gives you a feeling of, was the right choice, but that would need to be out of joy. If it was 2 dishes, y'all.
Yeah. It was 2 dishes, and the reason the 2 dishes weren't in the dishwasher, which is we have an agreement when we can, we put them in the dishwasher because there were 6 things in the dishwasher that needed to be taken out and put away. Mm-hmm. And it was Yeah. Take out, put away, take out, put away, where it's, yeah.
And yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but our agreement is we'll do it at the end of the evening. So I totally would have done it when I was home, and
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Those dishes came from, because I fed myself breakfast yesterday, which I was like proud of doing. Yeah. And those dishes had been in our room, and I brought them down because I like to tidy everything before I leave for a news station. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, those little moments, because I have them too, believe me, those little paths where I'm like, oh, I could walk down this path. Mm-hmm. Or they can just be noticing, which is what you've done, and been like, oh, I'm starting to do the thing. Like, it's like, Peter Pan, like his shadow is like a whole thing in the story, right? Like, that's where Wendy in the like cartoon, right, wakes up because he's trying to like stick his shadow back into himself with soap, right? So the whole story of Peter Pan is about like he and his shadow. So I want to be incredibly sensitive to the fact that your lived experience, your specific little traumas of childhood, a lot of them have to do with household tasks.
Construction as well, or any type of renovations.
Yeah, like making the home better, those types of things. A lot of it was put on you prematurely as a child. And you and I have talked about on here before that when something is put on a child prematurely, they freeze at that level of development. So that little bit of that, right, like juvenile frustration is always ooh, to me too. In the same way as that I'll feel sometimes that you're silencing my voice. You're not, right? But what age does that go to? 15.
Sure.
Boom. And you're like, babe, I'm not silencing your voice. And I'm like, he's not silencing my voice. He's not silencing my voice. It's very similar I feel 15-year-old pubescent rage, right? I feel this like, wow, why could she not put the 2 dishes in the dishwasher? To me, those are just like clues. Hi. Mm. This is connected to something from before. Mm-hmm. You always get to ask me for help. You always are a safe space for me to say, hey, I feel like my voice was silenced. And you can say, tell me more about that, knowing in the back of your mind, you were not silencing my voice. I never want you to feel like you were, because you weren't. That is my nervous system feeling that way. We could totally reverse that whole story, right? You always get to come to me and say, hey, I felt like all of this was being put on me. It's my job to know that's not what I was doing. It's not. I never, ever want to burden you with things. Never. And when I'm in a full day, a full week time, which is ironically why I brought this up to you yesterday, because I was like, whoa, right? Like there's days where I have back-to-back clients from 10 a.m., 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. I know what happens in those times, which is you want to help me. It starts out from this great place, and then by the end, you're burnt out. And I don't want you to do it. I want you to leave my dishes in the sink. I will get to them in the evening. I will wrap it into my evening ritual for myself. I will be delighted to. I am so excited for these days that I have. Mm-hmm. I couldn't be more thrilled. I love these people who are coming in. Like, adore them. It will be fine, but it's probably not going to happen. You're going to see the kitchen sink a lot more than I am over the next 4 days. Mm-hmm. There just are. What's going through? I can see your mind grapes moving.
Where's the fine line between it's so fucking ridiculous we're talking about the kitchen sink so much. Where's the fine line between, or like where's that kind of beautiful creating a clean space, solving it the first time and then having to solve it again, or having to kind of tolerate and endure, okay, Lauren will get to it whenever she gets to it, and then my space is now affected because the dishes have to go away so I can use the sink so I can make food. Those types of things of, okay, I have to solve this because I need the space, literal space, to create other things. So where's like, where's that kind of, or where's that? You make a beautiful bed in the morning, you do, so you can walk through your room, and that's solved. And then sometimes I'll get back into bed, and then it's an unkept bed. You're like, I already did this. So I could have the space to kind of walk through or get dressed.
And I just smile and I say, I'm glad he's there to miss that bed.
Mm-hmm.
When I walk into the room and you've taken a nap, you're one of your projector 15-minute naps or however long they are, they're like masterful. If we're being brutally honest, I'm like, fuck, like I love seeing a made bed and now it's mess. And then shortly thereafter, I am filled with thankfulness that you're in my life and you know how to rest. And you teach me how to rest. And I'm not good at it. And to me, I will prioritize the like prettiness of something over something like rest.
I'm thankful that you're fueling your body so you can like go be on TV.
That's
and,
what
like,
I was going to say.
Continue to pursue your dreams of like getting paid very large amounts for speaking and doing a TED Talk.
So I don't know if that would help that angle, because that's what I take of I could live alone and have my house exactly like I want it.
I prefer to have partnership with you than to have my house
when
exactly
it's those
like
little
I like
things. Now, please hear me. If I become a slob, we need to have a different conversation. But you can correct me if I'm wrong to our public audience. I actually don't think I'm a slob.
No.
I think I'm pretty tidy. Ironically, the reason those dishes were in the sink is because I moved them out of our bedroom. I hate dishes lingering in places that they're not to be. And I would have put them away that night when I got home. I got home at like 7 or 6.
Oh, it was I ran the 5 or 6 like large plates that we used that I didn't do hand washing.
Yeah, from when we had company.
Yeah.
And again, those dishes were because we had friends over, right? We could be alone. And so that's the angle I take in those moments when, I do want a sink or I do want a tidy bed, one of those things. Again, those are not big ones. If I was to become a regular slob, I think that's a different conversation. But if my one dish and shaker bottle are in the sink.
Stanley.
What's Stanley?
Your
My Stanley cup.
Yep.
Yeah. That was for hydrating my body, having a protein shake, and eating a burrito in the morning, a breakfast burrito. Which are things that I try to do because you really want me to fuel my body. Like you have said, like these are important things to you. I would take that angle, but it's up to you of what angle you want to take. And you're always free to set them to the side or like over by the coffee pot and then put them back in the sink. You do not need to do them right then and there. I will not view that as passive aggressive. I will view that is my job to do when I get home. Just like you made the bed because I got out of it earlier this morning. And so you made it when you got out. Same type of thing. You didn't ask me to come up and make the bed. You weren't like, well, it's our job.
Yeah, and also it would have been okay if I didn't make the bed.
It would have.
Yeah, you don't give me shit for that.
No. And I know that's more my preference. Like a made bed every day is definitely like a me thing. Our bedroom being in good shape is a me thing. I really like our bedroom in good shape.
Yeah, where it's not as important to me.
Yeah, it's really important to me that it is like a respite.
And then at the same time, I know how important it is to you, so I make it a priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I go around and clean up your nose strip scraps
100%.
sometimes and things.
100%.
That is not... I do that because I know the bedroom is a priority to me. Maybe that angle with the sink could work too. Like I do this because it's a priority for me and it's not a priority for everybody. So, okay. But you still help with the bedroom. I think the bedroom is actually a perfect example for this sink thing. You're definitely my helper in bedroom tidiness. Ooh. And yet there are little things sometimes that I will do.
And also, we haven't talked about the sink in, I think, months and months. If we were talking about it on a weekly basis, I think there'd need to be a different renegotiation. But if we're talking about it, every couple of months, I think it's okay.
I think it's also a sign. Again, I think it's also a little shadowy jig of, hey.
Yeah, and also
something's
it's like,
not right.
Yeah, and you've mentioned in the past, say, the bedroom, where it's like, hey, Trey, you're leaving your nose strips everywhere. And I notice, and I go, I am. And then I make an effort to put them in the trash can because it's starting to annoy my partner. I don't want to annoy you.
No, but again, if it starts to happen again in a couple weeks or months, I'll gently remind you again. And then it's like a 1 on a scale of 0 to 10 of frustration. And I think that one of the reasons we haven't had a dishes conversation in a couple months or a year, I mean, it's been a long time, is that, yeah, there has been like a 1, or you've said something like, hey, babe, can you unload the dishwasher tonight when you get home? And I've been like, yeah, sure. Thank you for letting me know. Like, and I've told you, it brings me such joy when you ask for those things, because I'm like, woohoo, he made a request. I can check in with my limits. Or you can say, hey, babe, can you unload the dishwasher? And I can say, yeah, I'm going to be gone until this time. Is it okay if I do it when I get home? Sure. It allows me to be in relationship with you in a helpful way. And that's such a blessing to me. Like, that is really a gift. And yeah, it is so much better than the other side. Like, gotcha. I'm tallying against you.
Yeah, I don't want to
like that's really.
I don't want to do gotchas.
Preference.
Gotcha, yeah, gotchas for me. There's no room for sex.
Yeah.
Speaking of sex, tying it back to fugging, if you're trying to gotcha your partner,
Yeah.
you like legs closed.
100%.
And it should be both ways.
Yes.
I'm so turned off. Myself gotchas and you gotchas. It's such a turn off. I don't want to be in a gotcha partnership. I don't really want to be in a gotcha relationship with anything. Not my friends anymore.
Yeah.
Not people I play golf with. No one.
Right. It's just.
Those are unhealthy relationships.
They are. And you know, what's so interesting is that it's, you know, if somebody's martyring themselves to the point that it's like, gotcha, I've been doing so much and I've just been mad at you for months, that's
or weeks
really
or
not
days.
Attractive.
No, it's not attractive at all.
Like, oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. So again, I'm really sorry about the dishes. And I can very much acknowledge this is a little bit about me, not a lot about me.
No, geez, yeah. It's not.
Like, I am happy to be your partner in so much as I can in these next few days. And I want to be really clear about, you know, what I do have to offer in these next few days. And yeah, and it's what I tried to say yesterday is, hey, this is a really full 4 days coming up. Can we over communicate? Can we have opportunities? Can you leave things for me at certain times? Because I love these days. This is, if Lauren was single, these next few days that we're about to have would be my happy place, because I have a cross of service in my human design. I am on this earth to provide value like I'm about to provide for these next 4 days.
Cool.
Like, I am about to do the Lauren shit.
Okay, good.
And I feel called to it. I am so excited to go into these next 4 days. I will not be martyring. I will be in joy. And so it's always a trick. And I've told you before, one of my past wounds is when I would have these days of like, oh my goodness, that's when my sweet ex-husband would come in and like destroy, like get drunk or have a parasomnia. And I would be like, oh my God, I can't enjoy my favorite thing. Like, I would have some great work accomplishment and couldn't enjoy it because of my home life. So then what feeds in is a narrative from childhood, which is, see, a woman's place is in the home. You neglected your own family. Who do you think you are? You're out there offering people help. You can't even be there for your own husband.
Interesting. Okay. For me, like, today I'm in toleration of this day, where it's like, I don't want to edit this podcast. I don't want to go outside and do yard work. I'm going to have to put a happy face on it. Like, I'm putting aside the things that I really want to do, the things I want to prioritize. I'm afraid I'm going to be out of energy when it's time to go for Big Brother, Big Sister at 4:30 today. Like, today for me, it's like, I'm in toleration of it.
And okay, so if I was just able to connect my old narratives, are there any old narratives of yours that those are connected to?
Yeah, it's like doing shit around the house that I don't want to do. But then it's like, who's going to do it if you're not going to? Yeah, you could pay somebody, but it's not going to happen in a day. You're up against this deadline. Maybe that has to do with it because the yard has to be cleaned and thatched for proper seeding, and I could blow that off, but then it's going to be like, what the fuck is the point of, so it's, I've got a weird narrative right now in my mind. Maybe I just need to take an edible.
I was literally about to say, what's a way that you could say, no, I am not Trey the teenager who has to do all of this construction work for my mother.
Yeah.
What's a way you could spin it and put on something that brings you joy, that like infuses you? Yes, take it out of, if you have to do a bunch of yard work, why not?
Let's do an Eddie. I already feel a little better.
Yeah, like I'm serious. We get to do this. I tell my clients all the time that it's my job to think through an entire day and think, what do I need? Right? I have a sparkling electrolyte water in the fridge. I have my meals that I got. I'm going to heat up big cherry. I have like a dry brush. I have fun things that I can play with in my hands. It is my job to figure out for the next millions of hours.
Okay. All right.
How
what
do I make
need?
it fun?
Okay, cool. Okay. I need to have food in my stomach.
Okay.
It's not a good idea to fast. Do I feel a little fluffy right now as far as the belly? Was I drinking sugar alcohol for 2 weeks? Yeah. So I need to actually I need to actually put good food in my body. It can be low carbohydrates, high protein, but I need to have fuel so I don't go out there and fucking, I don't know, like just grind through it. I'd actually like to do it. So I also need a uplifting or a comedy podcast or something to listen to while I do the work, and I need a definite stopping point of the backyard gets done, the front yard doesn't get touched. I need water out there. I need an edible. Yeah. I need to knock out the editing the podcast, which is actually, it takes 25 minutes. I need to do that in joy. I need to do that when it's time for me to do that, which is almost immediately after I go to the bathroom and maybe get something to eat. And then that renders, and that takes about 2 or 3 hours, which is totally fine because the laptop's not going to be used because I'm going to be outside doing stuff. Okay, all right. I'm a little fired up now. I'm a little fired up. I'm going to need some kisses. Maybe some pussy kisses. Maybe I kiss a little pussy. If you have capacity, if not, that's okay too. I can just daydream about it. Okay, yeah, I feel better. I fired up. Ooh, I need to meditate first before I do any of this shit because that's the most important thing I can do all day. And I was actually angry at myself getting in the chairs that I didn't make time for that, which I brought into this podcast. Being upset at myself that I'm not making time for the shit that needs to get done for me. So, yeah. Speaking of things I need to own that, like, I can't come in with, like, being mad at myself because I'm going to reflect being mad at you. Yeah.
Thanks for coming to this episode of the Partnership Podcast with Lauren and Trey. Reminder, these are our opinions and our lived experiences. Take what you like, leave the rest. Thank you all for being here through our very, very real conversations. If you want to work with someone like me, you can go to sexedforyou.com/free consult to request a free consult. I am a certified holistic sexuality educator and embodied intimacy coach. And this is my favorite thing.
Thanks, Coach.
Bye-bye, everybody.